So maybe what I'll do is I will start with the introductions, and while we're doing that, if more people sign on. So as most of you know, my name is Johanna, and I'm the chairwoman of the association. And I've been doing this for about 2 years. And I've lived in Redwood City with my husband, Chris, and our 3 children for a little over 25 years now. And so I will pass it next to Jerry.
Michael, I don't have volume.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Jerry Brick on Crompton Road, and I've been here in this house for probably 30
Oh, you
years.
somehow it got muted.
Are we on? Oh,
If I could just ask everyone who's
Sure.
not speaking right now to go on
Sure.
mute, please. Thank you. Go ahead,
Sure.
Jerry.
okay. Jerry Brick. I live on Crompton Road, and for about 35 years or so in this house. And thank you for doing such a great job on these meetings.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Who would like to go next? Just go ahead and take yourself off mute and go.
Well, I'll go. My name is Chris Robel. Since Jerry just said he's on Crompton Road, he's probably my neighbor. I also live on Crompton Road. I just bought late last year, and thrilled to be part of this Farm Hill and look forward to the meeting.
Welcome, Chris. We're happy to have you. Who would like to go next?
I also live on, I'm Regina Kipp. I also live on Crompton Road.
Hi, I'm Beverly Kane, and I live on Cheshire at the corner of Crompton. And this is the first time I'm doing these meetings, so thank you.
Welcome, Beverly. We're happy to have you.
Hi, Gail Barton. I live on Highland, and I just realized I've been here 29 years.
I can go next. My name is Ben Kapoor. I'm also with my wife, Anita, and we live on Emerald Hill Road, and we just moved here about a year ago.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. Who'd like to go next?
I can go. Hello, everyone. My name is Terrence Joe. I'm the Director of Public Works from the City of Redwood City.
Thank you, TK. Who has not gone yet? Gerd, have you gone?
No, my name is Gerd, and I live off Farm Hill on Brandy Rock. That's close to Stulsov Park, and we live here 10, 12 years now, I think.
Thank you so much, Gerd. Chris, do you want to go?
Sure, Chris Rasmussen, retired public service from Redwood City for 30 years, and now co-hosting neighborhood meetings with my wife.
Thank you very much, Chris. Barb, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Barb, you're on mute.
I guess I turned it off instead of turning it on. Barb Valley, Roosevelt Neighborhood Association Chair, and I'm a member of the Senior Affairs Commission.
Thank you very much.
I've lived in Redwood City. It'll be 50 years in June.
Thank you, Barb. Welcome. Happy to have you. Have I missed anyone else? Is there anyone else who needs to go? I know we've got some representatives from the city who would like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I can go next. My name is Darren Aston. I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Analyst for the City Manager's Office.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gabby Morales. I also work in the City Manager's Office. I'm the Equity and Inclusion Fellow. I'm really happy to be here with you all tonight.
We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brianna Evans, Redwood City's Equity and Inclusion Officer. Thank you for welcoming us here tonight.
You're very welcome. All right, well, with that, we will go ahead and get started. First up on the agenda is TK. TK is the Director of Public Works. He's been with Redwood City, oh gosh, how many years now? It's probably been a couple decades he's been with us. He does does a fantastic job. Unfortunately, sometimes he has to be the bearer of bad news, but he does an excellent job, and we're so grateful to have him here with us tonight. So go ahead, TK.
All right. Thank you, Johanna. Thank you. Chris, good to see you on the Zoom meeting. So I just wanted to share my screen here and just wanted to make sure you all can see my screen.
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Terrence Shaw. I'm with the City of Redwood City Public Works Services Department. I am here tonight to touch base with community about our department proposed solid waste rate change for this year. As you may receive the Proposition 218 mailer to your resident explaining that amount of rate that we are planning to increase. So for tonight's presentation, I will touch on the key issue, why we are raising solid waste rate and what is a proposed solid waste rate going to be look like? And also want to show the community that how is our rate compare with the other neighboring city and the next steps. So why we are raising solid waste rate? So we are proposing to increase two size of can. Those are 19 and 32 gallons. City also has a 64 and 96 gallon solid waste. Our solid waste rate, including picking up weekly from in front of your house, black bin, which is garbage, and then recycle bin, which is blue, and then green bins, which is compost. So 3 items that we pick up weekly, and the rate is for the monthly rate that we are proposing. And some of you already know that why these 2 cans are being picked up or proposed to increase the rate. The reason being is that the current rate for those 2 size of cans are below the actual cost of providing a service. So here's our proposal. So as you see, current rate for the 20 gallons is $16.87 and 32 is $33.86. We are proposing to increase $2 for 20 gallons and $1 for 32 gallons. But if council approve the March 7 public hearing, 20 gallons can will be increased to $18.87 and 32 gallons will be $34.86 beginning April of 2022. We are also proposing to increase unscheduled services, what we call it attachment Q, for 1.947%. Attachment Q is a service above and beyond of the normal sewer service, of normal garbage service, which is like going out and truck driver has to go out and pick up your garbage bins from your backyard, or some of those garbage bin has a lock so that unlocking the bin, things like that, additional service. Some people subscribe to recycle bins, and those are the one that additional service charge will be increased for 1.947% if council approved. I also wanted to touch base with our rate comparison with the neighboring agency. The line that highlighted in yellow, our current rate, and the proposed rate is highlighted in greens. As you see, our rates, even though the proposed increase rate is below the median rate compared with the other neighboring agency. So we are going through with the various neighborhood association, updating about our proposal. We are going to have a 2 community outreach meeting via Zoom during the daytime for just focusing on answering the community question about proposed solid waste rate. That will be announced pretty soon. I believe one during the month of February, and another one going to be the beginning of the March before public hearing. So this pretty much conclude my presentation. I'm here to answer any question that you may have.
Thank you so much. Do we want to stop sharing? Maybe stop sharing the screen so we can see one another again? Okay, great. All right. So thank you so much for explaining that presentation about the garbage rate increase. I was not aware that residents had the option to order another, like a second recycle can. I had no idea that that was even an option. So I've learned something new tonight. Oftentimes, that's what we have most of is recycling. So thank you for that important information. Now, I'm sure that there is a couple of you who have some questions for TK. So just go ahead and take yourself. Oh, I see Chris's hand is already up. Chris, would you like to ask your questions?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Terrence, for that background. And I'm a finance guy by background, so I look at this stuff and, you know, I appreciate the fact that the garbage rates are certainly not higher than average relative to other cities, although we could sit there and look at other costs that are like sewer and things like that. You know, I've lived in Palo Alto for, you know, the last 15 years, so I just moved here. But so every other utility is a lot higher here. But okay, the garbage rates are not that bad. And my issue is really with and I understand that Redwood City made an effort several years ago when they initially instituted this rate structure to encourage, you know, environmentally conscious behavior, recycling, not sending a bunch of stuff into landfill, and effectively, if you want to call it subsidizing, but encouraging the 20-gallon use versus the sending all the stuff to landfill. And so, yes, there's a lot of things that get subsidized. We don't make money on libraries. We don't make money on, you know, there's a whole bunch of things. And so to me, that's encouraging a good and appropriate behavior. So my concern is you're zapping the people that are being most economically conscious with a 12.5% increase, while people that are the least conscious, you didn't show the 96-gallon people, customers, and the 64-gallon, they're not getting any increase, right? And the 32-gallon customers are getting a 3% increase. So, you know, the more you use, the less your pain you're feeling. So the more bad behavior you have, the less your increase is, which to me seems orthogonal or opposite of what we should be encouraging. And I also think, and I don't know this for a fact, but perhaps you know, others on the phone, Gabby or Brianna might know this, but I mean, to me, it just intuitively feels like the people that don't consume a lot probably don't make the most. And so there's an equity and inclusion element as well, where you're going to be hitting the people that are paying the least and probably have the least with the biggest percentage increase. So I think I appreciate the fact that you want to do, you know, as you said, proportionally allocate costs to each of the customer class, but sometimes you don't do that, right? And I gave, and if you have a subset of customers that are maybe more struggling than others, and you also have customers that are trying to save environmentally, you might want to either more slowly increase their rates, maybe increase them faster than others, but not a 12.5% increase. That's, you know, we're at 7% inflation. Doing it almost twice what inflation is just seems wrong. And I get that costs are going up as well, and you need to recover those costs, but do it in a way that's a little more, make it, you know, $1 for everybody, or $1.50. You know, there's a way to get the same amount of dollars through. I don't know what percent of customers are in each of these classes, so I can't do the math, but do it in a different way that doesn't disproportionately penalize the people that are in recycling the most and probably can afford it the least. So I hope, and I've sent this, I've spoken with, unfortunately, you know, again, I'm from Palo Alto. All the Palo Alto council members have office hours. I'm learned, and I spoke with the city attorney. Apparently, none of the Redwood City Council members, and I may run for city council. I was going to do it in Palo Alto. I may run for city council in Redwood City. I'm shocked that there's not council hours. There's not office hours by all council members, and some of them don't even return my phone call. So but anyway, I'm shocked that, and I'm hopeful. Actually, I'm hopeful that City Council will overturn this. I did get an email from Mayor Hale, who was essentially regurgitating the city staff what you said, and that's fine. But she copied all the other City Council members, which is concerning from a Brown Act standpoint. But anyway, I hope that council will independently over change this so that it is a little more equitable and also in line with the SCAP, or I don't know what you call it here, Social Climate Action Plan, but environmental plan that Redwood City has. I'm sure that's a goal somewhere, and do it in a different way. And yeah, so that's really I don't know if you ever, I mean, and I get you're doing your job and you have to collect the money, but I just hope it gets done in a different way across the customer.
Thank you, Chris. Your point is well taken. And then I saw the email you and my boss, Melissa, are exchanging email about the process and procedure. So you probably got well informed about this process also. Totally understanding about those the unable or this least afford for the party having this service, garbage service in their home. We are planning to have a rate assistance program for those who they're making, certain amount of money annually below the San Mateo County median income level or such, because we do have an existing rate assistance program for water and sewer service customer, so that those who are qualified for the program, they receive the our utility bill is a bi-monthly bill, so that kind of like every other month. And those who they qualify, they receive $40 discounts for the water and sewer. So we are developing a similar program like water and sewer rate assistance program, and hopefully we can bring that program online sometime this year.
Well, okay, so that's great. I am actually all for that. What about the environmental element? And I will say one other thing. In her email, Mayor Hale said that we can gather 50% plus one of people protesting, which is a little bit, I don't want to say disingenuous, but it's a little there's no way we're going to get half of the households. I mean, I think there's 40,000 households in Redwood City approximately. So I'm not going to get 20,000 people to protest anything. You could do a 1,000% rate increase, and I won't be successful to do that. So, but I do understand from Alex, who I spoke, the supervisor there, that the council can independently change the staff recommendation, right? And I hope that they do that. And I did say that at oral communications. And there are a lot of neighbors I've spoken with that are concerned about this. And again, I'm not in this category, and I'm not going to get the subsidy. I don't care. I can pay it, right? But I feel that the environmental element as well, and I'm glad you guys are addressing the subsidy. That's great that you have that program, but the environmental one, should also be considered. And I think we want to encourage people to not throw stuff in the black container and put it in the blue container, which or the green one. So
great, thank you.
Yeah, I second Chris's concerns, both environmental and Fletcher-like. I wonder how far transparency goes. In other words, do we have access to the data on which you make those calculations?
Sure, yes. So that these are all public document. You can request through the city clerk office about the public record request. That's we are also basing on the actual true cost of service.
Right, no one contests that, just that, as Chris noted, there's an imbalance there, and one cannot help wondering why someone decided to apportion things in such a weird way, encouraging pollution and letting off richer people off the hook.
Okay, so let me so kind of take a little bit of time to explain it. Just wanted to let you know that our garbage rate structure was designed many years ago, over a decade ago. The intentional, just like the way that you gentlemen explained, you're encouraging people to throw less stuff in the garbage. So that our garbage rate for the smaller cans are extremely low, and then we are, we haven't raised a rate from 2013 to 2018. You can look at the record, 5 years with no increase rate. So what happened now is that we are rebalancing or restructuring the rate. The reason being is some of you may aware of it, Proposition 218 that approved by the California voters in the mid-90s require that utility service provider should charge appropriate rate to the service that we provide. We cannot robbing Paul and pay Peter. We just have to charge exactly what actual true cost of service. So when we talk about actual true cost of service, Chris, probably you're a finance guy, you probably know that we have a two-part, right? We have a fixed rate and a variable rate. So variable cost is a kind of like size of the garbage can that you folks subscribe. Fixed rate is a garbage truck coming to your home every week and then throwing these trash into the to the landfill. So, and all these processes involved, and the majority of the costs are fixed costs, not the variable costs. Variable costs is just a minuscule part of it. So just wanted to explain it to you about why these rates are rebalancing, because we wanted to be in line with Proposition 218, so that true cost of service in line with actual service bill that we provided to you.
But I got to push back on that. So Prop 218, which I have read, I don't believe requires and necessitates that the cost be aligned at that level of granularity by customer class, right? You have to, your overall garbage rates, you can't be charging, like actually what Palo Alto, you probably know about the lawsuit, right? The utility lawsuit in Palo Alto happening, where they take the gas, charge gas customers, and then they fund the general fund with that. But so this, as long as you're collecting enough fees and garbage costs to collect for all the garbage costs, that's okay. You don't need to apportion it by street and make sure each street, because probably where I live at Crompton costs more than Main Street, which is closer to your facility. You don't need to go to that level of detail. So I don't think we're violating Prop 218 by having subsidies for people that are recycling, because we want to encourage that behavior. Do you disagree with that?
No, I totally agree. The only reason that we have the rate, the actual cost of service that provided by our JPA, SBWMA, South Bay Waste Management Association, for the City of Redwood City for various sizes of the garbage can that actual cost of service, and then we compare with the rate that we are charging, and this is the only two sides that we see that extremely off balance. The others are not. So that's why you only see that we are only selecting two sides of can to raise the rate, rather than across the board like a 2% increase or 3% increase, because those people are already paying for the service that they receive.
Okay.
Gert,
Well, I hope that you consider a glide path as opposed to a double-digit increase for that segment, maybe over multiple years, or a little slower. But I'll probably anyway. I guess we respectfully disagree on that. So
thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Gert, I see that your hand up is that next we have Barb after Gert.
I mean, supermarkets for years now, if you give people a bigger card, they will buy more. And the same is true with your trash bins. If people have the large trash bins, they will create more trash. Your climate action plan clearly states you want to reduce solid waste. So you need to incentivize everybody to exchange their larger bins with smaller bins. And you do that by messaging, we are not increasing that rate, we are increasing this rate and this rate and this rate. So you should structure your whole thing that the bigger cans get a bigger increase. I mean, it's just plain business. It's good business.
Thank you for your input.
Barb, you're next.
Hi. I two things. One, where's the 12.5% come from? Because when I figured it, it was not quite 12% for the 20 gallon and not quite 3% for the 32. So I just wondered where Chris got 12.5%. And then the other thing, I know it says in the letter that, about extra services and if they have to come on your property to get your bins. However, if you're handicapped, have a handicap placard or can show with a letter from your doctor that you're anyway handicapped, they will come onto your property, get the different bins, and not charge you. So I just wanted people to know that. And then I have the 20 gallon, and excuse me. And so I'm paying $17 a month. And for that $17 a month, they're picking up my trash every week. They're picking up my recycle every week. They're picking up lawn and garden stuff and food scraps every week. I have the option of having 2 large pickups a year. Each one probably saves me at least $100. And I just don't see that. I have no problem with the increase. I guess I'm odd man out, but I'm on a fixed income and all. And sometimes I don't even fill my 20 gallon bin with trash. Pretty much everything either goes into recycle or is compostable. So that's just my 2 cents. But I would like to know where the 12.5% came.
Would you like to answer that, Chris?
Sure. So I mean, it's just math. So the current rate is $16.87, and it's going to $18.87. So that's
right.
If you do 1887 divided by 1687, it's 12%.
Okay, but the increase is $2. Right. So that's what you're wanting to.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's in absolute dollars. It's $24 a year, which is not a big deal in isolation. But then you've got, as I told council, it's fee fatigue, right? So it's only $2. It's only $24 here, and it's only fees on 101 are going up only a couple, whatever. It's all the cumulative effect of things, and I think we have to be judicious on all of them, and percentage wise, make sure we're not taking anything up double digit, because it all adds up.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you, Barb. Did you have another, Gerd, did you want to add something else?
It's just about the incentivizing people to move to the smaller ones. And if you always make the case, the smaller one gets more expensive, it creeps up to the larger ones. You don't incentivize people to make that switch. You want a really big step between the smaller gallons and the larger gallons, so people actually exchange the larger one for a smaller one. That's where you're going for.
I think that's a great idea, and I think that's environmentally conscious as well.
That's what we're trying to do, because it's in the city's climate plan. Don't make plans if you don't follow through.
Yeah, I know we recently downsized our garbage. I mean, when you add the sewer fees and you add the water, every 2 months, I think our bill is almost $400, and we're just a family of 4. So everything adds up. So I appreciate all the input that we received here tonight. I appreciate everybody's interest. Appreciate TK being here to talk about it. And I encourage everyone to attend the public hearing that's coming up and share your views and thoughts on this issue with council. They are elected to represent us, and it's important that they hear how we feel about these issues. All right, with that, I think if we've covered that, thank you so much for joining us, TK. I hope you'll take the feedback you received tonight and take it back, and hopefully maybe some adjustments can be made, or it can be considered for things that are happening in the future. So thank you so much, and have a great evening. Next up on our agenda is Brianna Evans, and she's going to be speaking about this fantastic program that Redwood City has come up with. It's called the People's Budget. And Redwood City will be allocating $1 million to improve our community. And the best part about that is we as a community get to decide or request how that money will be spent to improve our community. So for more information and much more detail on what this is about, I'm going to hand this over to Brianna Evans. Thank you so much, Brianna, for being with us this evening.
Thank you, Johanna, for that wonderful introduction. You covered all the key points, so we can be brief. Again, I'm Brianna Evans. I'm Redwood City's Equity and Inclusion Officer. And I'm here with my colleague, Gabby Morales. You can see Gabby waving there. Gabby is an Equity and Inclusion Fellow with Redwood City, also part of the City Manager's Office, and she's leading the outreach and engagement for the People's Budget. We're glad to answer questions. Gabby's going to run through a presentation to fill you in on the details, and we really are eager to hear your ideas and to hear your questions about this project.
Thank you so much. I believe oh, perfect. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johanna and Brianna. I really appreciate the opportunity to share the People's Budget and why it's so important to us. And thank you, like Brianna mentioned, for giving up those key points. I feel like you already covered my presentation. Anyways, so the People's Budget, it is a piloted project. So this means it's the first time that Redwood City is doing this. And so some of the things we're going to cover tonight are what it is, some timeline, project examples, eligibility criteria, how to submit an idea and spread the word, and some future meeting dates where we'll be showing up in the community. So what is the People's Budget? Joanna covered it. It's a chance for you to help decide how Redwood City spends $1 million in public funds to support, grow, and improve our community. And anyone in the community is welcome to participate and share ideas, vote on projects, regardless of age, immigration status, or where you live. So if you work in Redwood City, if you study, you're a student in Redwood City, if you feel really any connection to Redwood City, we want to hear your ideas. Your voice is really important to this process. This process did start in Brazil in 1989. It started as an anti-poverty measure, and they were able to reduce child mortality rates by 20%. So some really incredible stuff comes out of this project. Since then, 7,000 institutions have done this process of participatory budgeting, and that includes cities, counties, schools, and many other institutions. So it is a wide known process. This is our timeline. Currently, we are in the idea submission phase. So right now, the public is invited to submit ideas on where they think the funds should be spent. This started January 1st, and we will continue to do it all the way until February 19th. As you can tell, this date is coming up. It's only a couple weeks away. So if you get a chance, please submit your idea as soon as possible. After the idea submission phase is over, staff will come together to analyze all of the ideas that were brought to us, and we'll turn them into projects where folks can vote on them in the project voting phase. Voting will start March 19th through May 9th. We're doing a ranked choice voting. So say you already know your favorite project, you can put number 1, and then your second favorite project, number 2, and so on. And then in June, we will announce the winning projects at the June budget session. And then we're hoping to start implementation of projects at the beginning of July, but it also depends on the projects that end up being selected. But even so, we will begin giving updates to the public of where we're at and how the projects are going. So how will projects be selected? Committee members, as mentioned, will have an opportunity to vote on all eligible projects using the ranked choice voting, and final projects will be identified based on the highest votes received. So something we're getting a question of is, will ideas be weighed differently if we get multiple ideas of the same thing? And the answer is no. All ideas will be looked at the same and valued just the same. The only time it counts when we're receiving more input is during the votes. So make sure to tell your community members to really get out there and vote on the projects that you want to see happen. More than one project can be selected as long as the cost is under $1 million. So say there's a project of 10,000, another project of 500,000. Those two projects together are still under 1 million. So multiple projects can pass through. Staff will vet all ideas for feasibility and cost before and after the voting. And top ranked projects will move forward once staff have confirmed that they are feasible and within the $1 million budget. Some examples of projects, Oakland, Vallejo, they're really close by to us. I know San Jose and even San Francisco have even done this process as well. So some things they were able to do is transportation vouchers, which I do want to mention would be a limited time because these funds are only able to be spent within this fiscal year. So this is a recurring fund and we wouldn't be able to continue spending it year after year. Oh yes, I see Brianna raised her hand.
Just a quick clarification on that. So the funds are allocated for one fiscal year, which means they need to be put to a purpose then, but they could be spent over time. So there's an example on the next slide about Dignity on Wheels showers for folks who are unhoused. If community members voted to fund Dignity on Wheels for 1 year, that would be $100,000. But if community members allocated the money now for 5 years of Dignity on Wheels services, those $500,000 could be allocated and then spent over several years. So a little bit tricky there, but just want to make sure that it's clear that it could extend beyond this fiscal year, but it's got to be able to start within the fiscal year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Thank you for that clarification, Brianna. So some other projects too that other cities have done are Boys and Girls Club Gym, school tech and bathroom upgrades. And we also asked our staff to come together and give us some approximate costs of some examples of projects. So one example would be a turf field to play on. And this would take up all the money, unfortunately. So 1 million, but if it's what the public wants, it will pass through. And then, as Brianna mentioned, the Dignity on Wheels, 100,000. I'm not sure if this is for 1 year or multiple years. 1 year. Okay, I see Brianna nodding 1 year. So this is for 1 year. So if we wanted the 5 years, it would have to be 500,000. We could do a traffic circle for 70,000, or even some sidewalks for 10,000. And if you want to plant some trees, each tree would cost 1,500 to plant, and this includes irrigation. So some really great examples, but we want to hear your ideas. I'm sure some of you have some great ideas that expand past this list. This is only a short list of what we can do to improve our community. So again, the eligibility criteria has to cost 1 million or less. More than one project can go through, and it has to be open and useful to the public. Has to be a one-time purchase or cost with some of the flexibilities that Brianna mentioned. And it has to start within the fiscal year of 2022 and 2023.
One more clarification there. It's got to be able to start within this fiscal year. So there's some things that, for instance, if there was a land swap involved in a particular project, that might take us a while to put together, even if the cost is under $1 million. Or there may be permissions needed from someone else to get started, but we want to identify projects that are not going to drag on for a long time if we're able to, that we can report back quickly on both the progress and completion of the projects. So this is a bit of a tricky metric. They've got to be things that can get started, and our staff are going to help identify which things can or can't. So no need for the public to try to figure that out, but we want to be transparent about which factors are going into indicating which projects are eligible.
Yes, thank you, Brianna. And as she mentioned, we are working very closely with staff to make sure all these projects are vetted after the idea phase and after the voting phase. So we're going to do multiple rounds where we're looking really closely at all of the projects to make sure that they are eligible. All right. So now you know a lot about what can happen with projects. How do you submit an idea? You can go to our webpage. To the left is what it will look like when you go to our online page, redwoodcity.org/pb. There is the option to go in English or in Spanish. The short abbreviation, you can go to /pb or /pb-en for English or /pb-es for Spanish, Español. I just want to thank Darren, who's here tonight, from our communications team. He was really helpful in getting all of our outreach materials together with the website and our flyers. So thank you so much, Darren. He's very critical to this process for us. So, but again, so when you go to the website, you'll see a big button on the page. It says submit idea for a project here. And then when you go there, it'll take you to the survey. the first part of it will ask you questions about yourself. What's your connection to Redwood City, your name, some contact information, what's your idea, and what's the benefit of your project and how will it improve the community? It'll ask you some questions, how did you hear about us? So that we know if our outreach is working and where folks are getting information from. The second part will take you to a demographics form. This demographic form asks questions about race and ethnicity, age, gender, so all sorts of things. And this is just to make sure that we're reaching everybody in the community. That portion is optional, but again, it is helpful to us to know who we're reaching and if we are reaching everyone. Not only can you fill out forms online, but you can fill out paper forms too. And if you make a request, we're happy to print materials and bring them somewhere for you. And to an organization where you might want to disperse some materials to. You can go in person to City Hall, the Veterans Memorial Senior Center, Fair Oaks Community Center, or any Redwood City Public Library, and staff will be happy to help you through the form as well. So after you submit your idea, and if you want to help us out to spread the word, you have 2 chances to help spread the word. Again, we're doing 2 rounds, idea submission from now until February 19th, and the voting phase from March 19th until May 9th. I just want to say how much you guys are a key part of the people's budget. So make sure your community is heard, make sure your friends are heard, make sure your family's heard. And please feel free to announce in your own school, workplace, sports team, or other social groups. You can share events or information on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can also help a colleague, friend, or loved one submit their own idea. If you have any ideas where our team can share information, really anywhere, we're really happy to show up and share what is the people's budget and how you can get involved. You can let us know by calling this number or by emailing us at pb@redwoodcity.org. Some upcoming event dates we're going to be having. We have a virtual event Wednesday, February 16th at 5 p.m. It's a workshop where we're inviting folks to brainstorm with us and hear about the people's budget. And then we'll have a few outdoor in-person events. Wednesday, February 9th, the next week from 12 to 4, kind of calling them office hours. So feel free to drop in at any point during those hours and ask questions or tell us about your ideas. These will be at the Redwood City Public Library in downtown. And we'll also be at Lunar New Year Saturday, February 12th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Saturday, February 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. we'll be at the downtown Redwood City Public Library again for our office hours where you can drop in and say hello or just chat with us about the people's budget. And here's our contact information, our email address, our phone number, and the link to the website as well. So feel free to reach out to us with any questions or any ideas of who else we can be reaching out to. That's all I have for you, but we're happy to take any questions you might have right now.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. If we can stop sharing the screen so we can see one another's faces, that would be great. Okay, perfect. So a couple things. I might have missed it. Where did this 1 million come from? Was it a grant? Was it general fund money? Where did the money originate from?
These are general funds. These weren't allocated from any other project of the city, but set aside in response to community requests last year for a participatory budgeting process.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Now, I couldn't help but think that the garbage rate increase might be a good thing for this, but that's just a shout out for Chris. I couldn't help but think of that as that was going on. I did the math, but I also wanted to share that I am a religious education teacher at Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And so I have invited my confirmation students. I have 102 students, 76 high schoolers who are going to be participating in this people's budget so they can share what they want to see in their community. And I've heard some wonderful ideas, everything from additional arts programs, community gardens, safer bike lanes. So there's all kinds of really good ideas. And so I encourage everyone, all age groups, all backgrounds to submit an idea, because this opportunity doesn't come around that frequently, and it'd be nice to make the very best of it. So does anyone have any questions? Yes, I see Gail. Gail.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm in an environmental group, Fossil Free Mid-Peninsula, and we've been kicking around, like we had 24 ideas of things that we would like. And obviously we're not going to submit that many, but like one idea is to have stickers or magnets to put on people's gas appliances with information about how long the life expectancy is and how they could upgrade next time to electric, to quit using gas. So one, like, would that proposal be under our name or under an individual's name? And then how could we determine the cost, or would you help us figure out the cost of something like that?
Great. So it would go under an individual's name. You're welcome to include the name of the organization if you like, but each idea has to be submitted by an individual person. It'll ask for your name at the beginning. In terms of the cost, we welcome any input you're able to offer on the cost, but if you're not sure, our staff will figure it out. So we'll do our very best to estimate how much it would cost. I'm sure we'd be able to find a vendor for stickers or for magnets and sort that out. I'll mention in the voting phase, we're going to share the project titles, and we're also going to share a brief description of the project based on what it may be helpful for you to think about not only city staff as your audience for why this is useful, but also fellow members of the public. What would they need to know to determine that this is a good use of these funds?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Did anybody else? I know I'm really interested. San Francisco has some spectacular bike lanes. And so often our kids up in Farmville, we have no way to get them safely downtown. It's a huge issue, and it would be so nice if we had those big, tall, I've shared them with you before, Gerd, those pictures that really makes it clear where is the bike lane, and so the kids know as well, drivers know. And while that could, I know I asked in a previous meeting with Brianna, while that could be considered a reoccurring cost because one might get damaged, I understand that it would qualify. So maybe if you and I wanted to get together, Gerd, I know that's something you're interested in. Maybe we could submit something on that along those lines. Does anybody else have any questions or any suggestions? I did create a poll that, let me see if I can, that was our, let me see. So I did create a poll here. I'm going to launch it right now just to give me an idea of the kind of things you might be interested in. So when I'm looking at the ideas that are coming up, if we want to submit one as Farmville, that this sort of gives me a gauge on what our interest is or what our need is, what you feel our need is. So if you could fill out the just pick as many things that you feel are an issue for our neighborhood. And I'll take that back and see how I can incorporate that into what is submitted.
Do you explain multifunction water faucets?
So multifunction water faucets, they have them in like Sonoma County, many big cities. So it's the water fountain that the dog gets a drink, the person gets a drink, and you can fill your water bottle. So it's like so it's environmentally friendly because you bring your own water bottle, right? And then so everybody gets a drink in these type of faucets. This was something that we were pushing for when COVID first started with our unhoused community as well, so they could have access to clean drinking water when we shut the faucets off. It was a need we had because there was no way for them to get clean water. So did the poll work out okay, or is it not? Were you able to select the?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Did everyone have a chance to answer if they wanted to?
Except I can submit.
What? what happens when you try to submit?
You have to fill out the second question where it says choice 1 or 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
I'm sorry, what does untitled question mean?
Oh, you know what?
There's a mistake in the
sorry.
survey.
I'm sorry about that. So I intended to say other and then with a suggestion, but it wouldn't allow me to do that. And so I guess it didn't delete that one. So I apologize for that. I'm learning. Okay, so I'm going, is everyone submitted? Who wants to submit? Okay. Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and share the results here. Oh, let's see. There we go. Can you see the results of the poll?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so lots of interest in bike lanes, lots of interest in parks, neighborhood improvements, and homelessness. So very much in line with what our recent survey showed. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us this evening. We are very grateful for your time. I know you had an earlier meeting, so I am grateful that you are making it. This is a very long day for you. So we appreciate your time and we appreciate your efforts. Thank you for
Glad to be
joining
here.
us.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for the invitation, and we'll pop for the evening, but very glad to receive questions by email or phone.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great. So next up is a new issue for us. I was contacted by AT&T, and they are wanting to put some fiber cables up on Colton Court. And this is the first time I've ever been contacted by a utility asking for our feedback, wanting us to get the word out and to share any concerns. I have a call with her tomorrow, and I'm going to take back the feedback that I receive here back with her. So the email I received states, let me see here. And of course I have the wrong email, so many emails. Okay. So basically her email stated, this email is to notify you that AT&T California is upgrading its communication network in your neighborhood. The new network will be capable of delivering enhanced fiber services directly to your home or business. In order to bring this new technology to your neighborhood, it'll be necessary to excavate 6 4x4 pits and place 84 feet of conduit through the multiple locations on Colton Court. I have attached a drawing that will be placed according to applicable city guidelines. AT&T will restore the work area to its original condition or better. After the upgrade, our network is complete. Your neighborhood will have the most advanced and reliable communication services available. We expect to be moving forward with this construction in your neighborhood soon. For more information, please visit att.com. And then she asked me to share concerns about the project, and I'm going to be doing that with her tomorrow. She also sent me the schematics of the maps of where they're going to be doing this. Colton Court is not that big. So would you like me to share those, or I can share them if you'd like? Okay, sure. Okay, let me get them up here. Okay, now I wonder, do I have to flip them, Chris, before I show it? Do I have to? Let me see if it will allow me to flip. Well, I think it's gonna make, I have to flip it around first. So I'm sorry. Let me see here. Thank you for bearing with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, all these Zoom buttons had to block, so I apologize. Okay, so here we go. So here is, let me make this bigger here.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sorry, you probably can't see this, all these Zoom things. Okay, So AT&T, okay. So excavate the pits. And so here we go here, work locations. So it looks like there's dig up number 1, dig up number 2. What does this say up there? It looks like it's all going to be right here. So I guess it would be impacting Hillcrest Way up here. It potentially, well, it doesn't look like it would be impacting Eastview that much. Mainly Colton Court and Hillcrest Way. Let's see what this one shows. And tell me to stop, or if you have any questions, just go off of mute and ask, because I'm new to this. I've never had this happen. I've never received one of these before. So this seems pretty complicated over here. Okay, so oh. Does anyone want to help me with this? I really, this is really detailed. Is Terrence still on the call? I guess these are probably the plans that they submitted to the city. I'm guessing. Let's see if it gets any less complicated. I'm guessing this is what they had to submit for their approval. So here's Colton Court here. Okay. So here's a pit here. It looks like it's going to be right in between. Like here's the driveway of someone's house. So it'll be in between. So it looks like they're going to be in between these homes. Let me see here. Can you see this okay, or do you want me to make it bigger in a certain place, or go back to the first one? Okay. Yeah, that seems to be the easiest one to see. So this is what they're proposing. Of course, AT&T says it's gonna, it's gonna be probably the best, services we've ever seen. Well, our minds will be blown. But the truth of the matter is they want to sell services, right? So, so go ahead, please share your thoughts. What do you have any thoughts? Are there any concerns about this? Are there any environmental concerns? Are there any traffic concerns? Anyone?
They probably just want to advertise their service. They want to tell you we are in the neighborhood now, right?
Well, they've been in the neighborhood for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my guess is what she said is that they needed to make notifications, and I was on the list as the neighborhood association to make the notification.
They have to do a checklist there.
Maybe that's the way they do it. PG&E is never contacted me, so this is new. So I'm just wanted to share everything I received. I would imagine, it's really going to be the most inconvenient for the folks up at Colton Court, but they've received.
They probably want that. They probably asked for fiber there.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because I remember when we first moved here, like almost 20 years ago, we had to get a satellite. That was the only way we could get internet, was through the satellite.
I'm actually surprised Colton Court is Redwood City. I know the map is weird up there. What's Redwood City? What's unincorporated area? I thought Colton Court is part of Emerald Hills, but apparently not.
Yeah, it's like this small section.
Yeah, it's ours. It's always been ours.
There's a weird. The map is going weird and around Emerald Hills a little bit, and between Woodside and Emerald Hills, and then it includes the Edgewood Park again or something.
Yeah, we have the south side of Edgewood Park. We have all of the Easter Bowl there. And then we have that little cutout of Colton Court. That's all incorporated.
So this is a proposal by AT&T to install infrastructure that allows fiber to the home in that area of, I guess, Farm Hill. Is that correct?
Exactly. And she sent this to me.
Like, I have fiber to the home, which is absolutely wonderful. They don't have it where I came from in Palo Alto. So it's incredibly wonderful. But do most people have it, or is this in this area in Farm Hill, or is it? I thought most people did already.
I think it really depends because, Farm Hill, we're the largest, we cover the most area as far as neighborhoods. We have the largest area. Not necessarily the largest population, but the largest, area. And I think because of the hills and the differences, we don't all have the same thing. So like where I'm on Lower Farm Hill. We got, those types of services, let's say 15 years ago. We're up the hill, they haven't gotten them yet. So it's very, it varies significantly. So
I guess my only reaction is, what do the residents think where this stuff is going to be installed? I don't know. They're probably not on this call, but.
No, they were certainly invited to come and notifications were put out. And I know AT&T said that they did specific outreach to those homes as far as contacting them and letters. And there was more specifics because they'll be impacted because of the digging and all that. So I just, when she phoned me, I said I would present it at our next meeting and that I would share any concerns or anything that came up.
But usually they only start digging if they have a certain amount of interest from an area. I don't think they would go out of their way to include a street where nobody wants it.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't mention it, and it's clearly it's been approved. So yeah, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe she was trying to offset any maybe opposition. Maybe she was trying to, in case something came up where somebody was opposing, maybe they wanted to know about that. Ahead of time, which makes sense. Sometimes things could be running smoothly and, one person objects and that can cause a problem. So,
I mean, we want these people to have fast internet. That's our Halloween street. And these guys need to order the candies, right? They need fast internet up there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Gerd. All right, so I think we've explored this this issue. I think it's a good thing for them. And if there's no opposition, I will go ahead and tell her that we presented it and that we're happy they're going to be getting faster internet and there was no opposition raised at the meeting. Is that sufficient? Okay.
Fine. Just a little side note.
Yes.
I have Sonic, which uses AT&T lines. And I spoke to an agent from Sonic a few weeks ago about a problem I was having. And Sonic is planning to put in their own fiber lines, not using AT&T. They're running their own lines around the area, and they'll be in the Farm Hill area within probably a few months. I think they're nearby, but he said a few months before it ever gets to me, and that's gigabit fiber.
Oh, wow.
But they do all undergrounding, right? The cable goes into the ground, doesn't it?
It probably could be either way, but most of our stuff is on the pole. It's not that much underground here.
Okay.
Too much demolition, I would think.
So it looks like this is like 2.0, like things are getting refreshed maybe, or newer companies are coming in. Like Sonic, that's new. How long have you had Sonic, Jerry? They've been around a while?
Yeah.
Several years, yeah.
Okay.
I had
it
5 years.
works fine. It's just like AT&T. They use AT&T at this time. They use AT&T lines, but it's probably not half as much, but it's maybe at least a third less cost than AT&T. And if you have a problem, AT&T comes out and takes care of it.
And you can always get Sonic on the phone. They're based in Santa Rosa. You always get a live human being without a voicemail tree. They have phenomenal customer service. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. That's really good to know.
They're really good people, and you can get you have tech support. You don't get switched from voicemail to voicemail and somebody that's hard to understand, and you talk to a real person within a couple of minutes.
Well, that sounds great. Okay, next up on our agenda is redistricting. I'm not sure who was able to catch the last council meeting, but a lot has come up, and I'll share the map that's going forward in just a moment. But I just want to give you a brief history. So we know that there was a lawsuit filed a couple of years ago, and that lawsuit claimed that Redwood City was violating the Voting Rights Act. And as a result, we went to district elections, and we were all put into districts, and we were just put into District 7. And then with this 2020 census, the new numbers came out, and now based on those numbers, they're making new maps and making new districts. Now, this time around, if some of you may remember, the first go round was pretty messy, pretty controversial. And so this time council appointed what they called an ARC, an advisory redistricting committee, where each council member selected a member from their district to serve on the committee to create these maps. And so the ARC they presented 2 maps. I spoke out at the meeting. We actually submitted a draft map and a final map on behalf of the neighborhood association. And those were not selected. I didn't receive any official feedback on them either. And so when the ARC presented to the council, it was it the week of Thanksgiving, Chris, or was it the week of Christmas? It was a week when nobody was around, basically. And so not much, not many people were involved. And so the maps that they submitted were kind of tricky. One of them placed 4 sitting council members in one district. And I believe the other one placed 3 council members in the same district. Since that time, we've now heard that our mayor, Giselle Hale, is running for state assembly for Kevin Mullins' seat. Kevin Mullins running for Jackie Spears' seat. So we've learned that, so she's not a contender. She's looking to leave anyway. So that takes her out of the equation of 3 or 4 sitting council members. So what council did at the last meeting was they selected map C2, which placed 3 council members in the same district. It placed Diana Reddy, Diane Howard, and Alicia Aguirre all in the same district, which would be our district. It would be District 7.
Great.
And so what they did then was they half of the council was supportive of that map that did that. And the other, of course, Diana and Diane were not happy with that, and they suggested another map. So the compromise was they would make some slight adjustments to that map to include some mobile home parks with the neighborhood closer to them. I think it will take Diane out of our neighborhood and would just leave Diana Reddy and Alicia Aguirre. And based upon that, because Alicia Aguirre was elected to serve a 4-year term that's not up until 2024, and Diana Reddy, her term ends this year and she'd be up for election this year. Diana Reddy would be prohibited from running. She'd be termed out, and she'd have to sit out for 2 years and then run again in 2024. So that makes so she's vice mayor now. I mean, she will be basically forced out, and until the next election, she'll have to sit this one out. So that's where things stand now. I can show you the map. I'll share my screen to show you the map that they're working on now. And there's a chance that it still may, let me see here. There still is a chance that they'll make additional changes to it, but it's not looking very good as far as what's happening with for council member, or I should say Vice Mayor Reddy, which is unfortunate because she has been a friend of Farm Hill on most issues. Okay, let's see here. Map C2. Map C2. Okay. Share it. And where's my share? There's my share screen. Okay. So this was the map C2 that they approved. And you can see how the how it goes. It's really, look, you can see what they've done to our neighborhood here. Here we are. This is Farm Hill. They took all of this part of Woodside that we asked for because our children, our home school, our home high school is Woodside High School, as you know. And this is the route that our children take to school if they walk or bike to school. And we asked that that be included, and that wasn't included. And so you can see how it goes into Mount Eagle Hill, it goes into Mount Carmel, and it goes into Edgewood. So this map is everything that was not beneficial to our neighborhood. And unfortunately, even though we were actively involved, it didn't really matter. So let me show you, let me go in and see if I can, I'll stop sharing this one and I'll show you the one that they're going to C3 here. The one that they are switching around. Let me share. Okay. So here's the C3 and what the main part here. So I believe this puts Diane now in E, but it looks, the main difference was they wanted to put the mobile home parks with friendly acres. And when they did that, it made the numbers go over in certain areas. So there was small shifts. And like you can see F here, like that was something that was new. In my opinion, you know, other than Redwood Shores, which maintains its being whole, we can see how this city's being split up. And I'm showing all of my biases here, but I just don't see how this benefits our neighborhood. But this is where things stand. The next meeting, the next meeting I believe is going to be on the 7th, on March 7th. And they will be deciding whether or not they're going to make any more adjustments to this map, or if they are going to approve this map. And we're under like a timeline because it must be done, I believe, by April, because we're going to have an election this year and it has to go, you know, our register, he needs to know, you know, what our districts look like and what these ballots are going to look like. So, okay, Gail, I see you have a question.
Is it your understanding that these maps will be in effect then for 10 years until the next census?
Absolutely, yes. And that's why I tried so hard to give input and why it's been on all of our agendas, because we do have to live with this for 10 years. So 10 years or 2.5 election cycles, you know, that's a lot, as we have seen what's happened in the last 10 years. A lot happens in a decade in Redwood City. So the implications are big. And so, oh, good. So I think Chris, he's dropped them in the chat so you can see them. Did anyone else have any questions? I will certainly be attending the meeting. I've certainly spoken up about, you know, what we felt was important. We really wanted this section here going to the school, and we felt that we would be better served here, even if we included more of Roosevelt, because that's where we do our shopping, and you know, that's just more of our neighborhood. To put us down, at one point I actually measured the point of when they had our maps now at Woodside Road down to Finger Avenue, and the distance between that is larger than the distance from Redwood Shores to downtown. So that just goes to show you that we're like an afterthought, you know. Okay, Francine, I see that your hand's up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Hey, you know, I wasn't sure if you attended that last meeting or on Zoom. I don't believe this is the current, what they're considering. I don't think C3 was still in there. It was B and C2. And then there were 2 other maps that had numbers, 84165. And they were sort of actually leaning towards one of those numbered maps. And I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers, but I don't think this is actually current. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe something happened since that meeting, but I think it was just the last city council meeting where this was discussed. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, it was, Francine. So the maps that were presented at the last meeting, you're correct. There was 2 numbered maps that were submitted by residents that were not submitted by the ARC. And the maps that council was looking at that night, you're correct, it was 2 maps. It was not C3, however, it was map B and map C2. And so map C3 is a new map that was created. C2 was moved forward with the recommendation that modifications be made for the mobile home park. And that created a new map, which is entitled C3.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right that it was titled C3. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. It's
mistake.
complicated and it's a complicated thing, and to name them the way they do makes it even more complicated. So
Yeah. Well, I just did
yeah.
want to bring up that there's those other 2 maps in there too. And they've also asked for more maps from the public as well. So, which was, I think the last day was today. So I'm not sure what's going to happen after that now. So
I'm not sure either. I know last time around, they always say you can submit a map up until the last minute, you can submit a map, but quite frankly, whether or not they're really going to be considered, I'm not sure. I don't know where things stand with the numbered maps. When I looked right before this meeting to pull this up to share with you all, I did not see those numbered maps, as the language on the city website implies that this is the map that they're going to be working on. And I think, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
I didn't say anything. No.
So my husband, I'm sorry, he's in the other room.
Oh, sorry.
He's working my chat. He helps me by putting the links in the chat.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so he put those there. So the next meeting will be one to watch. I don't know that we have the votes as much as I would like to say that those numbered maps were of interest. I know they were only, what I heard, that they did not have the interest of the majority.
Right. Well, I mean, regardless if they're saying it or not, who's in what, which council members in what district does affect their opinion, and
of course
that's unfortunate, because, a lot of people are saying, well, and they're like, well, we can't take that into consideration. And then they're like, but one of these maps is 4 of us in the same district. I'm like, well, I thought we couldn't take that into consideration. So again, I'm not sure. And I'll look forward to, keeping up with it.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thank you for following it, because it's not a subject that's, that a lot of people are interested in, but it's one that's so important. So everybody's feedback is so valuable. Gerd.
Absolutely agree with you.
Thank you, Francine. Gerd.
But
I looked at the whole thing also more from a, what was it, community of interest point. I didn't look at council members. And I always felt the city is more of a east-west city. And especially if you look at that E shape or us, it's more like they divided it north, south to kind of gerrymander the location where I guess council members live. So right now, I think the one of the problems in the city is that 4 of how many, 7 council members, at least 4, 5, live in that small section between Alameda and El Camino and north of Jefferson. So you have a huge center of power in that neighborhood. And they kind of, it looks like we are gerrymandering to get as much power into that little section of town rather than spreading it out. And from how I look at the city and the way our school district and our schools are set up, we are more a east-west city. So I have way more to do with Red Morton Park than I would have to do with Stafford Park down there. Or
Yes.
I'm close of all these parents from Roosevelt and Henry Ford. A lot of them go to our school, to to Roy Cloud. So they are closer to us. Or everything around school stuff that's way closer to us.
Yeah.
Kenyon, okay, but I don't see what we have to do with Edgewood.
I agree completely.
Or what
Their kids go to different schools. They go to different high schools.
Or if you look at E, they have Sequoia High School. They almost have Sequoia High School and Woodside High School in the same district. That just doesn't, they are far apart.
Yeah.
And we have seen a problem, from this is we have 3 traffic calming projects going on at the same time. One was Hopkins Avenue, one is Roosevelt, and one is Redwood. And Redwood is the equity focus area. So that's where the city should spend more time and money and make it better. But what they did is they spent 3 to 4 million on Hopkins, where, affluent area. They will try for 1 million to get something done on Roosevelt in terms of traffic calming. And they spend nothing on Redwood Avenue. Redwood Avenue gets, 3 speed humps or something.
Yeah.
And that comes from having all these council members in that area around Hopkins, and nobody lives around Redwood Avenue. They don't even know what's going on in this part of town.
That's
So
right.
this is the problem with gerrymandering.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, Gerd, because I agree completely that it does feel gerrymandered. I also, the deviation, we're allowed 10% deviation, and that Redwood Shores, I believe, took up 9% of that deviation. So the rest of the city has to split up that 1% deviation, so Redwood Shores can have that full, 9% off. So they have 1,000 more people in their district, almost 1,000 more than the other districts. And so how is that fair? Really, that just secures one council member's seat, right? If you were to take a part of Redwood Shores and incorporate it into the downtown area or here, that would then lessen the likelihood that the sitting council member now, it would lessen the chances that they, would be reelected. So it's really
That would be good.
It would, yeah, but you see how much they've pushed back on that, and the city caved. The city caved, which is unfortunate. So are there any other questions? I'll continue to report back on this. I'll send it out on our neighborhood news blog. But this is kind of where things stand as of right now. So, okay. So if it's okay, I'm going to go into announcements. We are at 8:22. Boy, what a packed meeting we've had tonight, huh? Okay, so I have a couple personal announcements to make. So as most of you may know, I am a commissioner on the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission, and I've been on the commission for a year now. And I just authored a resolution at our this month, and it has to do with trying use as adults in San Mateo County. So as of right now, the district attorney in the last 6 months, the district attorney has filed in 3 separate cases, children who are 16 and 17 years old, to try them as adults. And so our commission felt that that is not where the residents of San Mateo County, they don't agree with that, 77%. And when we had the vote on that with the proposition a few years back, said, no, we believe children can be rehabilitated. We believe they ought to be rehabilitated, and we think it causes more harm to send them into adult correctional facilities. So we passed that resolution. It was unanimous. So I was so excited to have that pass. And we have 2 adult transfer hearings happening this month alone. And so I have created a sample letter if you would like to join me in asking our district attorney, Steve Wagstaff, to withdraw these transfer hearing requests for these 2 juveniles. If you are inclined to support me in these efforts, I would be grateful. And I will, there is the copy of the resolution. Chris just put that in the chat, and I will put the sample letter in the chat as well. I also wanted to let you know that the Redwood City Fire Department contacted me and asked me if I would sit on the panel, that they are going to be hiring a new captain, a new fire captain. And I'm very vocal. I speak on behalf of the residents and wildfires. And so I'm constantly speaking about that. And so they've invited me to sit on the panel to help select the new fire captain. Unknown caller. So I'm excited about that opportunity. It's coming at the end of the month. And so I would really appreciate any feedback you could give me as far as what would you like to see in our next fire captain? So I can bring that with me to the table when the interviews are conducted. And then I also want to let you know that we expanded the Farm Hill website, www.farmhillneighborhood.com. We have a section now for community projects. And so that includes not only what we're doing, but what other people are, other organizations, individuals, and groups are doing in our community, and how you can find out about that and how you might get involved with that. So Darren, did you have any announcements you would like to make?
Yes, I do have two
Thank
quick
you.
announcements. I'll try to make this short. So the first one I have is on the anti-displacement strategy. So at the January 10th City Council meeting, a study session was held on the proposed anti-displacement strategy. In an effort to address displacement, city staff worked with a diverse group of stakeholders to create the draft anti-displacement strategy. This strategy serves as a roadmap and foundation for how we can achieve the city's first two housing goals, which are preserve and protect. After over 2 years of listening to residents, property owners, local and regional housing experts, and conducting extensive research, city staff developed policy recommendations to preserve affordable housing and to protect housing options for the city's low and moderate income residents. This strategy focused on 3 policy areas and provided high-level recommendations for city council consideration, including tenant protection policies, preservation of unsubsidized affordable housing, and mobile home preservation. Following public feedback and a robust city council member discussion, staff will return with a refined work plan and associated resources in the context of the city's budget. And for more information on the anti-displacement strategy, you can visit redwoodcity.org/ADS. And the other update I have is on our boards, commissions, and committees. It's a listening session. The city clerk's office is holding a listening session for its boards, commissions, and committees, which we call BCC, on Wednesday, February 9th from 12 to 1:15 p.m. to hear directly from community organization representatives. During the session, they would like to hear from you about possible barriers preventing more members of our community from applying to serve on a board, commission, or committee, possible engagement strategies and ways to boost recruitment, and any other questions you may have about BCC recruitment. So I'll go ahead and put that registration link in the chat in case anyone wants to register to attend that listening session.
Thank you so much, Darren. I appreciate that. And then tomorrow I will go ahead, and this video will be posted on our YouTube channel. And in the description of the video, it'll have the links from the chat, and it'll also a copy to the video, and the links in the chat will also go out on our neighborhood news blog. So you should be receiving that sometime tomorrow. So if you don't have an opportunity to get everything in the chat tonight, I will make sure you have it tomorrow. Gail, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I can sign on to your, trying use as adults. I would like to sign that, and I'm not sure I can do chat. So will it be in minutes?
Yes, I will. And I will actually, I have your email too, Gail. So I will, and if anyone wants to share that with like-minded family members, friends, or residents, I would greatly appreciate that. These two young men are, their lives are in the balance right now. And so anything we can do to save them and get them rehabilitated would be in all of our best interest, in my opinion.
Thank you.
I would like to sign it too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any announcements that they would like to share? No. Does anyone have any concerns or any issues that you would like me to look into between now and the next meeting? Any topics you'd like me to explore at the next meeting? No? Gerd, I'm sorry, Gerd, I'm sorry.
I just want to throw out there the city is working on what they call a pedestrian and bicycle plan, but so far, so there was an initial outreach phase where people could express their feelings about certain streets and safety, and then based on that, the city said they made a draft plan. But most of the concerns were disregarded. Nothing really went into that draft plan. The draft plan is, I would say, very unprofessional. I would say it goes against what national transportation advisors would suggest to do. And it doesn't improve. I don't think it improves anything on our side. So El Camino, west of El Camino, there's not much improvement there. And definitely for one of the first things they did is they left safe routes to school out of the plan. So we have, according to the county, we have one of the worst safe routes of school situation in the county. And we do finally, they say it's the first bicycle master plan they did. And then they leave safe routes out. I mean, that's very unprofessional, I think. Which, I want, after the school closures 3 years ago, right? We need to get kids from the El Camino area between, Hudson and El Camino. They all go to school at Roosevelt, and they go to school at Kennedy. And in the end, they also go to school at Woodside High. So right now, all these parents drive there or have to drive their kids to schools, and we want as many of these kids being able to use a bicycle, so you have less air pollution, less noise, less traffic in our neighborhoods here. And this plan does almost nothing to reduce traffic or air pollution, or does anything for climate change or anything. So that's kind of disappointing. And most of the comments people made in the first outreach, they could just put in the second outreach again, because nothing changed between this and the draft plan. So very disappointing.
I share your disappointment. I don't know what it's going to take, quite frankly, to make it where our streets are safe for kids to walk and bike to school. We've already had one child lost their life, in our neighborhood already, trying to just get to school. So, I don't know what it's going to take. Lots of study sessions, lots of money, lots of time being wasted, and our kids are not benefiting.
Money is not the problem. A bike lane is $5,000 per mile. It's pretty much just pain. It's political will to organize the street. And going back to our first topic, one of the ways to organize your street is, clean it up, make sure people park more in their driveways. After a while, people just, because everybody drives, parks on the drive, on the street. You park on the street because you want to, keep your spot in front of your house. And once you reach that, the street just fills itself and all the driveways are empty. And what Menlo Park is doing for years, they have overnight parking is not allowed, right? So everybody has to look after their own car. And in the morning, when the garbage truck comes through, the streets are empty. So the garbage truck comes through fast, and they don't have to raise the price because of slow garbage pickup, right? Everything goes faster. You have space for all the services, your food deliveries, your package deliveries, your mailman, the street sweeper. Your street is cleaner because the street sweeper actually can sweep the street. But you need to get people to think about, where do I park my 4 or 5 cars? I should use my driveway. I should use my garage. I should rearrange my front yard if I have 5 cars. I shouldn't dump it just on the street. And we don't really entice people to use their own stuff. We give it for free, and then people have 4 or 5 cars and never think about getting rid of 1 or 2 because they never use it anymore. And that would make the whole street more usable for transportation, for real services, and not just private car storage. That's what we have, a lot of private car storage. And that's something the city that requires some doing, that requires some communication with people, explaining why we're doing it. And our transportation people don't really want to get into this.
Yeah, I'm hearing constantly that there's just not enough city staff over and over. You know, council, I think they're having a special study session this weekend. Each council member was directed by the city manager to choose 2 items. And last I remember that the city council worked at will of the council, and council, in my opinion, should be able to give staff as many ideas as they feel the city needs to put into place. But that is not where things currently stand. So
You shouldn't have to fight for safe routes to school. I mean,
Yeah.
that should not be a thing.
yeah, I agree completely. And I appreciate all of you always give us such good information and spend time on this, and I appreciate it so much. So thank you. Well, we are a little bit over. I appreciate everybody's time. I will go ahead and get the letter out, and again, I will send out the video tomorrow. Thanks for being here as always. It was nice to see our new folks, and Francine, I hope you'll join us again. And Donna, I hope everything's well with you. Chris, thanks for your efforts on the garbage. Gerd, as always. Regina, Darren, it was great to see you, and we'll see you next time. Gail, take care. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you. You're welcome.